Just first of all, some expectations. We'll take a question and answer period at the end of the speaking role, so if you can hold your questions for all of the speakers today until the end. Secondly, we will be having a Spanish language version of the press conference about 5 minutes after the conclusion of the English language version. With that, just want to start off really quickly with one quick ask, and that is yesterday we can confirm we had a drone incursion on this incident. And when we have a drone incursion, our aircraft cannot fly. This drone incursion included a drone getting very close to a helicopter and was turned over to Petaluma Police Department because the subject was at the scene of the drone flight. So we just ask people, and we cannot stress enough, we have 39 helicopters flying on this fire, and we cannot have drones in the temporary flight restricted area. If you fly, we cannot. That's what you can really do to help the firefighters right now, is keep your drones out of this area. With that being said, I'd like to start off with a brief overview of the incident from our Operations Section Chief, Chief Steve Crawford.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So working our way from the north to the south, the pocket fire, we've been very successful at keeping it from moving to the east. That has been our problem for the last few days. It's pretty much held in that easter from moving to the east anymore. So we're feeling comfortable about that. Now we're working on the northern side of that pocket fire. So we've got a lot of very large air tankers dropping as we speak. I was just up there putting retardant on along a ridge to keep it from moving to the north. And then we're coming up with a strategy on whether we're going to insert a bunch of individuals down in a not so good creek area to go direct on the fire, or if we're going to do a backburn operation from a little safer distance and tie that piece in using that method. So we're evaluating that right now, but that pocket fire, that section of the pocket fire is looking much better than it has in the past. As we get down to the Tubbs fire, the lower portion of the Tubbs fire up all the way up to Highway 128 up there, except for around the repeater sites up there, Calistoga and St. Helena there, is looking very good. We've still got some line to construct up there by the repeater sites. It's very, very steep, very rocky country, very difficult to make access to. It's going to be using the bulldozers to come up from the bottom as far as they can, and then doing hand crews off the top coming down to it in a not so great location, very precarious. So we're making sure that we've got a lot of helicopter support, making sure we get almost all those smokes out before we get boots on the ground and come down on that. But it's looking much better today up there as I just came back again. Working our way down to the the Nuns fire. The Nuns fire, most of that southern end, as we know from the recent opening up of some of the repopulation, the south side of that's looking very good. I'm expecting my comfort level to be almost real well, almost good, I'm sorry, bad terms. Up there in the Foxtrot where we still have red line, I'm going to put some black line on there tonight. I think it's going to hold well in that section. And coming around, we're still having difficulties up there in the Oakmont branch. We had some bulldozer line in there last night. It spotted over. It was about a 30-acre slop over, what we call, on the wrong side of the line for us. The helicopters did pretty good on holding that in there. The crews have cut around it, but there's still one more corner section that looks really difficult to hold. I'm hopeful that we'll get enough of the aircraft support on it today that we can keep that section cooled down, finish building the line and making the line strong in that corner, but it's a difficult corner. We don't like to try and hold a fire in a corner section, and that's kind of where the fire's running up to. So hopefully it won't run up at it very hard. We'll be able to hold that corner piece and keep it from moving to the north and to the west. The rest of the section, as far as by the Robert Louis Stevenson Park, that flank was looking a lot better today. As we covered up, and we've got the dozer line coming across the top. We're also starting a couple of other dozer lines ahead of the Oakmont on the north side and the east side there to try and make a secondary line just in case that primary piece that we hold doesn't work. As it continues, we'll have another set of bulldozer lines that we can use to keep it from moving to the north and to the south. Excuse me, to the north and to the west. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Crawford. Next up will be our Unified Commander, Incident Commander, Chief Brett Gouveia.
Good afternoon, Brett Gouveia, Incident Commander, CAL FIRE IMT-1. In Unified Command with me, Tony Gosner from the Santa Rosa City Fire Department, and Sheriff Giordano from Sonoma County Sheriffs. As a lot of you reported on this morning, I can acknowledge that we had a single vehicle traffic collision on Oakville Grade, west of Highway 28 in Napa County in the early morning hours. We had a one patient fatality this morning. It was a private water tender company that was contracted to assist with the firefight. CAL FIRE IMT-1, as this is in the Napa zone, is managing that incident. And CHP, the California Highway Patrol, is investigating the incident. And that's all the information we have on that at this time. As far as the fires go, you heard from Chief Crawford, we're still optimistic, cautiously optimistic. We're getting a lot more black line on these fires. Our containment percentages are continuing to go up. And as I said to you yesterday, there's just small portions now of this almost 100,000 acres that we have that are still fighting us a little bit. I'm very confident that we're going to get around these and we're going to move forward. Our continued focus right now, as I told you yesterday, that over the next 24 hours you'd see a lot of repopulation, which did occur over the night and through today. That pace is going to continue throughout the week. We're going to continue to repopulate areas as we can clear them and reduce all and mitigate all hazards in those areas. At the same time, we do have areas out there that are still evacuated. And as soon as we can mitigate the threats of that by putting good control line on these fires and making sure that we're not putting people back into their homes and having to pull them back out the next day is eliminated, we'll get those repopulated as well. It's been our mission, our top priority to get everybody back in their homes and back to some normalcy. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next we have from the Santa Rosa Fire Department and a Unified Commander, Chief Tony Gosner.
Thank you, Tony Gosner, Santa Rosa Fire Chief. A couple points I want to hit on. The fire's doing well on the Oakmont fire that's burned into the nuns. I was up there last night and it was burning well at night, which we knew was going to happen. But the reason why I bring it up, there's Cougar Lane and Los Alamos Road. Very narrow roads, very windy roads. I heard this morning that we still have people that live in those communities that did not evacuate. I need everyone, when they're told to evacuate, I need everyone to get out. This is not a normal fire, and we're not going to treat it as a normal fire, so we need everyone out. What we had to do this morning is load a bunch of law enforcement in there to get people out. When things go bad and we have to get more resources in there and residents are trying to get out, we can't get up and they can't get down. So it's very important that everyone gets out. The second point I want to bring up is Kaiser Hospital. MOB buildings 1 and buildings 2 are open. They have pharmacies in them. The main hospital itself is not open, and we're not sure when it will be open. It'll be in the next few days. But MOB 1 and MOB 2 at Kaiser on Bicentennial Avenue is open for the pharmacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And our third Unified Incident Commander from the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department is Sheriff Rob Giordano.
Thank you. So today the theme word is patience. A lot of pressure out there to get back into places, and I totally understand it, but it's our goal is to get you back in. We're working as a team. We're making that happen. And if you've been watching Nixle, I put a lot of people back in homes. Here's the thing. If your house is burned in a burned area, days or weeks before you can get back in. So please be patient. Our goal will be to broadcast when we open those neighborhoods. We're going to do it with checkpoints and escorts. So you'll literally be able to show up at this place, say, this is my home, here's my ID, and you'll be escorted in to get things, see your house, if you can collect anything. That is our ultimate goal, is to get you back to that. That also is very similar for the burned areas. If your house is standing, there's one house standing here and 50 burned around it. You will not be living there for weeks, days or weeks, but we will get you in with escorts as soon as we can. So please just be patient with us. PG&E is doing incredible efforts to restore power. Please do not plug a generator into your power or to your electrical panel. It slows them down, it can hurt them. You can use a generator to run an appliance, but do not energize your house with a generator. We've been running into a lot of problems with that. Every time that happens, we can't turn power on, slows down the repopulation efforts. So really important for us to take care of that. I want to talk about Nixle for a minute. I've talked about it every time, but it's still really important. Sign up for Nixle, sign up for SoCo alerts. You need both. We are sending Nixle posts back on all the information on this fire. Another important piece, click the Nixle link. It opens up the screen and takes you to the full detailed instructions. So when you see a Nixle come out that said Bennett Valley's open, if you click, it will tell you that Bennett Valley's open at noon at this road at this place. So there's been some confusion over that. So please click the Nixle link to find that information. Working around the clock to get road closures open. I've already seen a bunch open. You're gonna see more and more roads open as we can clear those areas, even in a burned out area that we need people to go through. So be patient with us for that. But if you watch this week, I'm amazed at how fast you guys have been moving, getting it done. So bear with us as we do that. We have no updates on fatalities. We're still sitting at 22, which is good news. We still have targeted teams in the field looking for our missing persons, and we have National Guard troops doing blanket searches for us. So just as part of the explanation to this, if we have an area we want to bring people into, we're going to search every part of that area for a victim we don't know about first, and that's what the National Guard's doing for us. So that's what's taken us time to clear some of the burned areas as well. Current missing reports, 1,863, 1,743, 37 turned over to other counties. People called the wrong county. We only have 88 outstanding now, so that number's dropping really fast for us. That's good news for us. So thank you for putting the message out, and please be patient as we put people back in their homes.
Thank you, Sheriff. Our next law enforcement representative is from the Santa Rosa Police Department, and that's Chief Hank Schrader.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hank Schrader, Chief of Police, Santa Rosa. I think you definitely heard the theme word of patience today. Like the Sheriff's Department and the county jurisdictions, the City of Santa Rosa's emergency operations system is working around the clock to figure out how to get people back into their homes or back into affected areas. Prioritizing those areas is really important for us. Those homes that have power, that have utilities, that are not damaged are the ones that we're going to prioritize first. Some of the other damaged homes, we're going to have to fit them into the process. We're working with all our partners to make it through the process so we can open that area up and putting our system in place to be able to help and support the people in those areas. I would agree the Nixle alerts played an outstanding role when we had to evacuate Rincon Valley. I'm actually confused on what day it is anymore, but when we evacuated Rincon Valley, the Nixle alerts played a key role in that. You have to open it up and read it. I have staff right now down in Bennett Valley area of Santa Rosa, which is not open as we speak, from the evacuation process, trying to deal with the confusion from the Nixle alert. If you read the actual content, you'll know exactly what's going on in there. Very important. We've also had probably over 150 incidents of looting or reported looting, which is very important to understand. Doesn't mean that this is an incident that occurred. It's meant somebody's reporting something suspicious. We have made several arrests in this area. We have over 200 law enforcement officers working in the areas that are hardest hit, trying to protect property in those areas and keep people safe. So please, mindful of that and be safe.
Thank you, Chief. Our final law enforcement representative from the California Highway Patrol is Captain Michael Palacio.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just first of all, I'd like to say that we're very sorry for the loss of the gentleman that was driving the water tender. He's helping to fight the fires and do the right thing, and unfortunately at this point we don't know what happened, but we're continuing to investigate it. It'll probably take weeks, sometimes longer, to figure out how that happened. Condolences to him and his family. So we continue to do our best to close or maintain the roads that are dangerous and keep those closed. And as the sheriff and Chief Schrader mentioned before, we're opening housing areas quick, and I just would like to say that please be patient. Sometimes communication is not what it should be, and although we announce that a certain area is open, sometimes that message doesn't get out as quickly as we'd like to our officers, whether it's radio issues or simple communication issues. And people that show up at these road closures expecting to get in sometimes get impatient, and then some. Just please remember that they're out there to do a job to keep you safe, and we'll get those opened up as soon as we can, and if there's a communication, we'll clear it up as soon as possible, and we'll get you in there. That being said, please be safe. The roads are a mess right now, especially in the areas with the fires that the fires have gone through. There's trees down, PG&E crews working all over, utility companies in and about. Pay attention. There's workers walking around the roadways and trying to do a good job, trying to concentrate on what they're doing. And you need to be careful driving. Stay off of the cell phone. Pay attention to what's in front of you. Please don't be one of those people that gets involved in an accident or should maybe hit a utility worker or fireman or somebody like that while they're trying to get you into your homes. With that, I will say, please follow us on Twitter and Facebook at CHP Santa Rosa for the latest road closures and updates on the roadways. And there's also a county website, roadconditions.sonoma-county.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Palacio. Our final speaker is two speakers. I'd like to welcome County Supervisor Chairwoman Zane and the Mayor of Santa Rosa, Mayor Corsi.
Thank you. So I want to give you some information again about our local assistance center and then say something about grief. First of all, our local assistance center continues to be open at 9 to 7. We've already seen almost 1,000 households just in one weekend. It is open at the Press Democrat and the address is 427 Mendocino. We are providing some shuttles to the evacuation centers, and also there's free parking in Lot B, which is a city lot just behind the Press Democrat. So, and this morning alone, I was told that 236 people were served. There's wraparound services in there, including FEMA, document replacement, insurance help, social services, and some of our nonprofits such as disability services, community action partnership, and more. But I also want to mention that we have the Veterans Affairs and Social Security Office in there. I was told, though, by our Congressman Huffman and Congressman Thompson, that if you have red tape getting Social Security cards or veterans information, to please call their offices. They are going to be the jaws of life for you regarding those two federal services, so please call them. And then I want to say something about grief and the type of calls we're getting. Since the fires began, we received more than 33,000 calls in the county hotline, 33,000. And over the last couple of days, calls have shifted from questions about evacuations to questions about coping. Many people who call are sad and they're worried. The shock has worn off, and the sadness and the depression and the overwhelming loss, as well as the trauma, is beginning to set in. We're encouraging people to go to the Sonoma County website for a list of available mental health services. People who are in need of immediate crisis services, please call the hotline 565-6900 for Sonoma County Mental Health Access Team. That's 565-6900. As somebody who is a former grief therapist, I will say that if you're a family member or if you have a loved one who lost their home, please be as patient as you can, and remember, you can't fix this. You can help them with getting the paperwork and services, but what's most important is that you provide a compassionate listening ear right now and let them feel whatever they're feeling. So thank you. We've got a long haul together, and we don't want to minimize anybody's losses or the extent of emotions.
So I'm Chris Corsa. I'm mayor of Santa Rosa. Along with a couple of other city council members, I had the opportunity to fly over the county this morning. And a couple of takeaways from that experience. One, there are still fires burning. We're not out of this yet, but I am confident, as our professionals are, that we've got the right people on the job. We have enough people on the job. The other takeaway here is I've seen the devastation on the ground. Looking at it from the air just gives an idea of the scope, of the breadth, of the enormity of the job that's in front of us. And I want to tell the people of Santa Rosa and the people of Santa Rosa and the people of Sonoma County that we are ready for this job. We are going to do this job with the help of our state and federal partners, and with the good people of this city and this county. We'll get it done. So I want to make a couple of announcements. First of all, we've got 689 people staying in shelters in Santa Rosa right now. There are more shelters than just in Santa Rosa, but those are our city numbers. We appreciate all of the donation of food and goods. The generosity of this community is amazing. But right now, we're not accepting any more donations to the Finley Center or other evacuation locations. We aren't accepting donations either to the police and fire departments. If you'd like to make a donation of food, the Redwood Empire Food Bank is accepting ready-to-eat, non-perishable foods for our evacuation centers. The Redwood Empire Food Bank is located at 3990 Brickway Boulevard and is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We're also offering free bus service between our shelters and the local assistance center. Our buses are on Saturday schedules. Our regular city buses are free this week. So that's a way to get around town without adding to the traffic that's out there. Finally, for up-to-date emergency information, it's srcity.org/emergency. If you want to talk to somebody, a live human being, in English or in Spanish, our call center is 707-543-4511. You can also follow us on our City of Santa Rosa Facebook page.
Thank you. And just to dovetail on that, we've also received a lot of requests to support firefighters in and first responders. And we really appreciate the outpouring of support. And maybe the biggest thing that we could ask is, what means the most to us is these signs that you see over here that says, thank you firefighters, thank you first responders, because every one of those are the first responders coming off the line that they're going to see. So that really is the best way you can help your firefighters and police officers and officials on the line. Last off, official fire information is fire.ca.gov for the latest fire data. I'm going to open it up to questions and answers. I'd like to start with any operational questions. Chief Crawford is a busy man and needs to get back to directing some troops, but any operational questions first.
Give me the bilingual FM radio station or antennas on top of Mount St. Helena. We're going to be running out of propane for our emergency generator pretty soon. How soon will we be able to get propane on top?
What I'll do is I'll have you tie in with our liaison officer, and the access to that area, the fire's still working hard. We still have helicopters and crews working up there. I'll have you tie in with our liaison officer, and we'll see what we can do about access for the utility companies.
Chief, can you go over to the podium, please? Podium, thanks.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Can you also elaborate as far as what you're going to try and do to turn the tide up in the Tubbs area where the bulldozers you were mentioning need to go in?
Okay, the question is, what are we doing specifically up there in the Tubbs area? Is that what you're looking at up there by the repeater sites? We have hand crews, lots of hand crews that we're inserting up into that area. So the hand crews will get on the ground. They have tools, and they basically take grass and brush and trees and all that, and they move it away from where the fire is going to come up and make a dirt line. And we'll wait for the fire to either go. We'll either put it right on the edge, or we'll wait until the fire comes up and then stop it right at those locations. Yes, sir.
Could you explain the corner fire up on top of Los Alamos, and has the fire approached down onto Los Alamos?
The fire is working its way up towards Los Alamos.
I'm sorry, Cougar Lane.
Cougar Lane, yes. That's where we had the difficulty this morning. We had resources up on Cougar Lane, and the fire is working its way up to Cougar Lane. And that's where we had the difficulty. We had our fire resources trying to get up into Cougar Lane at the same time as we had residents up there. So it is up in that area. I couldn't tell you specifically as we speak right now where it is, but I know it was impinging on that area.
Chief, how far is the fire from Los Alamos and the homes that are in that area?
You know, I can't tell you honestly. Yeah, sorry.
Could you tell me why there wasn't any alerts or alarms sent to us?
We'll get to that in a little
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's okay. Yes.
Can you give me an estimate time on maybe when Highway 12 to Oakland will be open? I know it's closed now. It's probably the only road
As far as Highway 12, as long as there's something going on in that Oakmont area, we still have the threat of it coming to the south from the Oakmont fire, working the way south in that Skyhawk area and the Los Alamos area. So it's probably going to remain closed for at least a number of days. Yes, sir.
Can you talk about the clarity in Sonoma Valley? What kind of air support you're able to get in there, and is the tankers or plane coming in?
Okay, the question is about air support. Air support varies throughout the day. Sometimes we'll have, in the morning, we'll have an inversion layer, so the aircraft cannot get in and work in there. But depending on the time of the day, when the wind starts to pick up, it's kind of against us, right? The fire's going to move more when the wind comes up, but it blows the smoke out of the way, pulls the smoke out of the way so the aircraft can see. And so it'll vary. Like in the mornings, it'll be impacted, and we won't be able to get helicopters in or fixed wing aircraft. And then as the day goes on, we can usually get the helicopters into an area first because they can work a little bit in the tighter smoke. Then we could bring the fixed wing aircraft in, the air tankers in certain areas, and then a reverse of that at the end of the day where the fixed wing air tankers can't get into a certain area and put retardant in, and then the helicopters can work. So
When it's clearing out and the inversion layer is bad, how many helicopters do you have in there?
they work on a fuel cycle. So I think we have 29 helicopters assigned right now. So they'll just work 4 at a time, 6 at a time, something like that, and try and stagger them out throughout the day. So we'll only have a few working in an area, especially it gets a little bit of smoky conditions. They got to be able to see each other. And so it depends on how tight the area is, how many helicopters we can get in. And we'll have multiple water spots. So maybe we'll have 4 water dropping helicopters coming up to one spot, while meanwhile further up the ridge we have 4 more helicopters working off another water spot in another area. Yes, sir.
Question about the Cal Cycle program. I've been hearing that you're not allowed to sift through the ashes, and if you do, if your house has been burned and you sift through those ashes, that the cal cycle will null and void your insurance policy. Is that accurate?
That's beyond my operational section. I'll put the fire out and then I'll turn it over to my partners to work on the recovery side, to be honest with you. So I'm sorry I can't answer that one for you.
Thank you.
There's some folks up here in the front that if you want to come up afterwards and speak to them, I'm sure they could help you with that answer. I got one more.
Oakmont is quite a large community of
Yes.
about 4,000 people.
Yes, unfortunately.
Will people go back in one phase or in 2 phases, or how will those people be notified?
That's, again, our law enforcement partners usually handle that, but more than likely it'll be like the rest of the fire. It'll be phases where our comfort level comes up and we put the smokes out and put the fire out, and there's no longer a threat to that portion of the Oakmont area. We'll probably allow people in, and traffic control points and that kind of stuff play into it. So, thank you.
One final question for operations.
To what extent is the weather report for Thursday and that rain influencing or impacting your prediction that you'll have full containment by Friday?
Okay, so weather report, that's always a good one. Hey, I hear it's gonna rain. That's not always perfect for us, in that originally the report was a quarter of an inch to half of an inch, or a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch, and then it goes down to a quarter of an inch. And unfortunately, if we don't get the moisture out of it, we just get the winds, it actually can be more difficult for us because we don't have a sustained wind in a certain direction. We have what we call erratic winds, where winds go in all different directions, and we actually end up with more of a fire front because the fire's going out in all directions instead of just creeping or crawling or pushing towards one direction. So we hope that we get half of an inch of a rain. We hope we get an inch of a rain, inch and a half of rain. Then we just got to worry about getting our fire truck stuck, and that's okay. We'll deal with that as long as the fire goes out. So we'll hope for the best.
Well, are you still calling for the Friday containment to be 100% whether it rains or not on Thursday?
No.
Thank you. And there will be opportunity to talk one-on-one with all of these individuals here, because we know that you guys have some questions that you want to go a little deeper with as far as a certain agency is concerned. So I just ask that you speak to them afterwards. So we'll open up for general questions right now, right here.
Questions for the sheriff?
Yeah, so this will be Sheriff's Department and law enforcement.
So, Sheriff, so we have some complete sound. Would you give us the figure again for the number of missing and your best guess right now as to where they are?
So the current number of missing in this county is 88. I don't have a best guess where they are. We're trying to find them. So we're hunting them down.
Would you address the possibility of some of the missing being found in their burned homes?
Yeah, I would expect to find some of the missing in their burned homes. We are still working on targeted searches. So we have a list of people that we have not found that we think might be in their home, and we're trying to get to them.
I know you addressed this earlier, but would you just reiterate the process by which you are sending your teams and the National Guard in to clear those burned areas of bodies?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're doing targeted searches for the missing people that we're trying to find. There's a team doing that alone. Then there's teams going to whole neighborhoods and doing actual searches of the neighborhood, generally the burned out areas, trying to clear that neighborhood so that ultimately we can get people back in to see their homes. So we send the National Guard in. They've provided us with several hundred troops. They've been absolutely excellent about this because we need people. They're trained to do this. They walk through, they search. We don't want to miss a person. So we are searching everything to get there. That's part of this process as we bring everybody back.
How many people on those initial teams and how many teams?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how many people are working it today, but there was over 50 search and rescue people that walked out this morning when I came in.
How big is the factor of communications? Do you think that a certain percentage of those 88 may be found safe once they're able to communicate?
I hope so, but the longer the time goes out, the more that gets a little bit more sensitive.
Do you have hard numbers on the arrests for looting in this county?
We have very few arrests in the sheriff's office jurisdiction. Like Chief Schrader said, we've gotten a lot of calls, and the calls have varied. It's been workers working. Sometimes it's been a homeowner who snuck back in, calling on another homeowner who snuck back in. So a great example of we asked you to evacuate. Now we're sending police into your neighborhood to find out why you're calling about your neighbor, who's both of you are in the place you're not supposed to be. So it's that drain on resources, right? But we've made, as of, I think it was Wednesday, we had made 5 arrests. I don't have the recent arrest numbers.
How long can we expect the National Guard to be here?
They've committed to stay as long as we need them. I assure you they'll be here at least 2 weeks, and I don't know, it could go as long as a month. I'll tell you, I've never handled an event this big, this much fire damage. We may need them for a while.
Yeah, how much military equipment did you guys have gathered up and been able to use for emergency purposes?
I'm not sure I understand what military equipment we're talking about.
Knapsacks, there were sleeping bags, tents, all that kind of stuff.
Well,
Surplus.
I don't know that we've used any of the surplus we've had over the years, but the National Guard comes with all their own equipment, and they've been great.
Sheriff, can you give a ballpark figure of how many people in the county are still evacuated?
I'm sorry, I don't know how many people are still evacuated. That's a hard number to come by.
Does anyone else have like another agency have that figure?
Not that I know of.
As each day goes by, you still have a number of missing people. Is there a growing concern that some of these people, I know the number is diminishing, you're very happy about that, but at some point there has to be increased concern that there actually may be a large group of that number that may not have survived?
Yeah, I'm looking at a number between 22 and 88 right now based on what we're looking at. I'm quite confident we'll be lower than that right now. Hope I'm right.
Sheriff, what's the process by which you categorize a person as missing?
Oh, if they call and say they can't find the relative, we make them missing. So just as an example, we've gotten a lot of calls from out of state from people who call about somebody they haven't seen in 5 years and they don't have recent contact info. We make them a missing person, we hunt them down, and then we connect them with their friend from 5 years ago. We're not turning anybody away. We run everyone we get. So that's why those numbers are high, and that's why we're able to work through them. But we can't overlook anyone.
So is the estimate months that search and rescue teams may be out there, and then what is the ultimate goal?
No, I don't think they'll be out there for months, but the ultimate goal is to get it secured and safe where we can let people go back into their property. The first step of that is escorted into their property as soon as possible so they can collect anything they can find and see their houses. We understand the importance of that to people.
And how will that work exactly? Is that something that they should follow in Nixle?
Yep, it's all going to be on Nixle. Remember, click the link, open, find the instructions. As we get to those burned neighborhoods, we will put out a Nixle post saying this neighborhood between these streets can open on this date at this time. In the burned out areas, we're going to ask you to bring ID. You're going to come to a checkpoint. We're going to let people in. We're trying to keep only people that belong there in there. We will have escorts to take you in. You'll be able to go in. You'll be able to get your stuff, do whatever you want with your house or your property. And then what we're going to do is put nightly curfews in, so you'll come out at night basically, so you'll be able to go back the next day. Because we want people to be able to get to their things. In addition to that, the health department will be there with health information and things like that, because it is a hazardous area because of the burning. So.
Sure. Could you give me a rundown? That segues into my earlier question about the cal cycle and sifting through your ashes. Can you touch on that, or can somebody else?
I'm sorry, I just realized I hadn't been repeating the questions. He's asking about cal cycle and if there is a problem with neighbors touching their own property. No, I have no idea what that rule is. We got to call cal cycle for that.
Okay, it was in your Daily Journal like a day or two ago, and it's printed in there.
Cal recycle is the best place to answer that question.
Do you have any other details about the drone incident?
I don't know anything about the drone incident. Yes. Yeah, we just did that. Yeah, thank you. So the question was, could we please include the Nixle announcement to say, click on the Nixle announcement to open it. 3 minutes before I came on, I called somebody and said, make sure we do this now. So we got that fixed hopefully, but I just want to keep getting that message out. So our apologies for that communication issue, yes.
Yeah, when did you start letting folks back into evacuated areas? Has that stopped now for a while? And then what's the process going to be like?
No, so we started yesterday, I believe yesterday, and I know we did several yesterday. I think we started yesterday. We will do several more today. The plans are going to keep moving forward. Our goal is to get every standing house in a standing neighborhood that's not burned, is to get people back in first. We want people in their houses, place to live, safe.
What's the status with any undocumented workers or immigrants and any fears or concerns that they might have at this time?
The only thing I've heard about undocumented workers, or undocumented immigrants, let's go there. There's been some concerns of rumors that when they go to a shelter that they're asked for ID for immigration status, and that's not true. We have put that out multiple times, tried to suppress that rumor, but there is nobody enforcing immigration rules right now in the middle of this. I even saw a statement from ICE the other day saying they're not. I can't speak for them, but I saw the statement. So
they can honestly feel that they are safe at this time in Santa Rosa and
yes.
other areas without any harm being reported.
Immigrants are safe, documented or undocumented.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Just a few key, quick points before we wrap up. Again, everybody will be up here for questions and answers to go deeper. First of all, there is a centralized evacuation zone map where people can go and enter their address to see if their home is evacuated still or not. And that URL is tinyurl.com, tiny as in small url.com, /central LNU evacs. And we'll publicize that. tinyurl.com/central LNU evacs. It's interactive for all the areas in Sonoma County. And with that, this is going to conclude the English language version of this conference. Everyone will be here for questions. In about 5 minutes, we'll have the Spanish language version. Thank you.